Hello and welcome to another episode of the Confessions of a Yarn Addict podcast. My name is Anniken and I live in the southwest of England in Cornwall, but I am originally from Norway. So this week I've decided to do things a little bit differently. I'm trying to experiment a little bit with different formats for this podcast. So rather than me just sitting and talking to you for half an hour and showing you what's on my needles, I'm going to show you a few clips of what I get up to in a week. So we got some clips from some of my workshops, some clips of what I'm knitting, walking the dog, some of the work I've been doing this week. So I'm just going to show you some little clips, and then I'm also going to show you what's on my needles. Project I got planned to cast on hopefully this weekend, and also some new yarn purchases. So I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you prefer me just sitting here talking to the camera, or if you like a format where you see a little bit more of what I get up to in an average week. So I'm going to show you what I've been bought recently and what's on my needles. Over Christmas, this is kind of the first normal kind of podcast episode I've done this year. I did a little kind of office makeover video. I hope you caught that if you want to see my new shelves and how it all came together. I'm trying to work out exactly the best position to put my camera in to film when I'm in my office. At the moment you can kind of see that kind of messy shelf behind me. The lights coming in, it's weird today because it's very, very bright. So the light situation up here is a bit weird, but I'm going to try and make the best of the situation I've got here. So I made a little bit of a purchase. I think it was between Christmas and New Year. I love this company called Fab Funky Fibres. It's a British company. I absolutely love their yarns. It was the first self-striping sock yarn hand dyer that I ever came across several years ago. And I've done 2 pairs of socks, I think, for me in the past. I think I've done a pair for one of my daughters. I got another skein of their sock yarn in my stash, I think, that I haven't knitted with yet. I used their mini skein set for my pop of colour shawl, which came out in January. So between Christmas and New Year, I saw on Instagram they were showing an update that they had. So I went and had a look, and I got this little beautiful skein. So this is merino and nylon, I think. It comes with 2 50-gram skeins. So this is one 50-gram skein. The other one I wound into a ball, and I cast on for a pair of socks. So my goal this year is to knit 20 socks in 2020. These I cast on before New Year, so I cast on in 2019, but I didn't knit very much, probably like half the foot or something. So that's what it looks like. So you can see it's alternating between grey and then a rainbow of colours. Really, really like it. Love the grey in between the bright colours. I'm knitting it toe up using my Aventuras pattern. I did the wedge toe from the Aventuras pattern, and I'm doing a garter rib stitch pattern. So every other round is knit 2, purl 2, and every other round is just knit. So that makes it nice and easy. So I put in the waist yarn for the heel by here. I actually did that at the cinema because we were going to the cinema. Trying to think what we watched now. It was only a couple of weeks ago, a week and a half ago, and I can't remember what we watched. Isn't that bad? But I was kind of probably about there, I think, and I didn't have time to knit up to where I had to put the waist yarn in before we went to the cinema, so I had to do it during the film. I was a little bit nervous about it because it means knitting in this quite thin nylon thread and then slipping them back on my left hand needle and then knitting it again, and it's just slipping it back because this yarn is this strand is very, very slippery. It's easy to accidentally slip it off your needles. So but it went all right. Sock looks fine. I always check when I get back from the cinema to make sure I haven't made any mistakes, and it looks fine, so I'm happy with that. I'm off to London next week, so I will take this with me to knit on the tube and out and about and stuff. I've also got a pair of socks which I cast on also between Christmas and New Year, I think, or maybe before Christmas, I can't remember. But I've only done probably about, I think I might have finished a foot. But I'm doing them 2 at a time, so I'll probably take those to London as well and see if I can finish at least one of those pairs of socks. We'll see. I haven't quite decided what I'm taking to London with me next week. I'm going up for 4 days. I'm teaching one of the days but we're staying for a couple extra days. So, and then all main thing I'm working at the moment is 2 magazine deadlines. So I got 2 deadlines middle of next week, and both of these projects I'm not really as far ahead as I want to be. So I can't show you the details because it is a magazine, so I've got to keep it secret till it's been published. But I don't think you can really see that much for this. This is a shawl I'm working on. It's very fine yarn. It's 1200 meters per 100 grams. It's a very, very thin yarn. In this week's newsletter, I actually share my top tips for working with fine yarns. I think this podcast will go out before the newsletter. Newsletter will probably go out on Friday, and I'm hoping to get this up on Thursday, but we'll see. So sign up to the newsletter if you haven't already, because I will be sharing more tutorials and things. Some will be exclusive to the new newsletter, some will be exclusive to the newsletter first, and I may share it other places later. We'll see. I'll see how it works. So that's on the needles. I'm making more progress on it now. I did struggle to get back into knitting with such a really thin yarn because I haven't done that for a while. And I'm getting into it now, but it's just taking a long time. And then I'm also working on another project, which I can't show you too much of. I'll just give you a little peek. I'll show you the back of it. There you go. You can kind of see the stitch pattern, but I can't show you too much because it is secret. That's a sweater for another magazine, also due middle of next week, and it's knitted in the round to the underarms, and I've just split at the underarm for the front and back. So I'm going around to see a friend this afternoon, so I'm taking that with me. So I can knit on that, because that's easy enough that I can knit on that while I'm chatting. So I managed to get that done just before I came up to record this. I split it for the front and the back. It's just so slow, this knitting. It's quite thin yarn. It's like a thin socket weight yarn, and it's just taking me forever. I'm slightly worried about my deadlines next week. I have to finish this on time because the deadline is the day before I go to London, so I have to get this off on time to the magazine and the patterns written before I go to London, because I'm away for 4 days. But yeah, it's slow knitting, and I'm kind of a little bit frustrated. So I've not really been working on anything else. I did last couple of weeks. I did a little bit on the 2 crochet blankets I'm working on, which I haven't shared on the podcast yet. I will share that another time. I may include a little bit of a clip of me actually crocheting on one of them. I've tried to avoid working on that for the last week because I need to get these 2 deadline projects finished. Another purchase I made, I think that was over Christmas or maybe first week in January, I can't remember. There was a lot on the TV about the fire in Australia, and several people I follow on Instagram were doing fundraisers. So I got a pattern from Amber O'Brien, who is, I think it's O'Brien. Amber is Ambah. She is an Australian designer, and she had a pattern, can't remember the name of it, that she was doing as a fundraiser for the relief effort in Australia. So I purchased that pattern. I rarely purchase patterns because I tend to mainly knit my own. I don't have any plans to knit that pattern yet. Maybe I will do. Maybe next time I go on holiday or something, I might knit it. It's a really nice pattern. I really like it, but I mainly purchased it because of the relief effort. I probably wouldn't have bought it otherwise. But it is a really nice pattern. And if I wanted a pattern for shawl, I would have been happy to buy it. It's not like I don't like it. It's just that I don't really have time to knit from other people's patterns. But it would be nice. And I was happy to support her relief efforts. And she's an amazing designer. I love her designs anyway. And then a Yarn Story, which is a yarn shop in Bath. They had a fundraiser. Everything that was in their reduced section, a certain percentage went to the relief effort in Australia. So I got 2 skeins. This is Knit by Numbers by John Arben, which is a local spinner in Devon, which is the next county over from where I live. He's probably based about 2.5 hours from where I live. So it's a kind of local yarn, really. These 2 colours, the way they do it with this Knit by Numbers range is that they start with like a really rich colour, and then they gradually add more white to make it paler. So you kind of, I don't know whether it's like 5 or 6 in each like colour range. So I might try and get a colour that goes between these 2 and use it for a project. I actually, in my head when I ordered it, I thought it was 4-ply, and it's actually DK. So So my plan was, if it was 4 ply, was to get another skein that goes between these two, so like a mid-coloured in between these two, and then do like a gradient shawl or something. I don't know whether to do that because it's DK. I don't wear DK shawls that often. Or whether to make hat and a cow. I don't know. I haven't quite decided yet, but I don't think I'm going to do anything with it for a while anyway, just because of deadlines and other things that I got coming up. And then last week, I was teaching at Wool on the X on Saturday. First workshop there. It's a beautiful shop in Exeter, in Devon. One of my kind of more local shops, hour 20 minutes or something from here. Vanessa asked me last week if I could knit her a hat. She'd bought a new scarf, and she's got 2 scarves that are kind of similar colour scheme. So she asked if I could knit her a hat to match. So I said yes, because when your kids ask you to actually knit them something, it doesn't happen very often, so I'm happy to do that. So she wanted the colours to match the colour scheme. So while I was teaching, I showed Ella, who was working in the shop, the colours that she was looking for, and I found one set of DK yarns. And then I said to Ella, she wants a chunky though. So Ella found another set of, either DK or Aran, I'm not sure, and a set of chunky in the same colours. So I took a picture of it, sent it to Vanessa, and I would have gone for the DK Blueface Leicester Silk blend. She went for the chunky Blueface Leicester blend. So that's the colour combination. The yarn is Chunky Roving Retreat by West Yorkshire Spinners. It's a really nice yarn. It's 100% Blueface Leicester. I love West Yorkshire Spinners. I've been to their mill. I've done designs for them. I've used their yarns in magazine designs. I really, really like the yarns, and I like the fact that it's reared, shared and spun in Britain. So I like that. Not over the moon about the fact that it's chunky, because I'm not a huge fan of knitting with chunky. But it's a hat, so it won't take that long. I'm knitting it on 6.5mm needles, which is so out of my comfort zone because I rarely use anything thicker than 4mm needles. But that's what it looks like. So the hat's going to have stripes. The stripes are actually not going to be like this. It's going to be yellow, grey, pink, yellow, grey, pink. So rather than like this. So the stripes will be slightly different. And then when I've done the rib, the rest of the hat will be in stocking stitch, and it'll be like chunky stripes in the 3 colours. So it'll finish with the pink. So it'll probably be 1 chunky stripe of each colour, finish with the pink at the top. So that's the plan. I knitted the swatch. I haven't had time to do anything more about it. I did think that maybe I could knit it on the way to London. The train is nearly 4 hours, and I was thinking maybe I can do the hat in 4 hours. Vanessa would like me to finish it before the London trip. And then I thought, the balls are quite big. Do I really want to bring that? It's a lot of extra luggage, space in my bag. Do I really want to bring that? So I will try and knit it before I go to London, I think. But I've got these magazine designs that I have to finish first. So as soon as those magazine designs are off my needles, I'll cast on the hat and try and finish it before I go to London. If not, I will do it while I'm in London. So that's what's on my needles, and that's my new purchases. I hope you enjoyed that, and yeah, I've got to get these 2 design magazine projects done, and I'm a bit worried about it might be a few late nights for the rest of this week. I'm just getting ready to start work for the day. I've got the window open because I'm a bit hot still from my workout. I work out first thing in the morning, and then I come and do some work. And sometimes after I've showered, I'm still a bit kind of warm. So it's quite hot in here. So I've opened the window, which is quite nice. I can hear the bird song, fresh air. First thing I do as normal is to put my diffuser on. So let me see what we're going to choose today. So I need to top up the water a bit first. And then I need something to keep me productive and awake today because I'm still a bit tired from the weekend. So I'm going to go for peppermint, which is like the ultimate pep-up oil. I've already applied that to the back of my neck this morning before my workout and after my workout. Then I'm going to go for passion, which is a blend of oils. It's called the Inspiring Blend. And I'm working on a design submission this morning, so I like to diffuse this when I'm working on new designs. And it goes really nice with peppermint. The first thing I've got to do this morning is to prepare a design submission for a magazine. I've knitted the swatches, which I can't show you. So the next job I have to do is to draw the sketches, and then I need to kind of put it all together. So I got this notebook. It's a traveler's style notebook where I keep all my sketches and things like that. So I'm not going to kind of let you see close up what I'm doing because it's all supposed to be a secret, but I will kind of angle the camera down so you can kind of see my rough process. So I'm really bad at sketching. This is quite a small sketchbook. I have don't know where that's gone. I have like a big sketch pad which I bought years ago, and it's got like what they call croquis, which is like shapes of women's bodies that you can kind of sketch onto. I don't really like using it. It's quite big and I struggle using it basically. So what I normally do is I print out, you can get various free croquis online, so I print out various kind of shapes of bodies in various shapes and sizes. These are some of the ones, I made this a bit smaller, so these are some of the ones I keep. I alternate. The one I mostly use is either this one. I've drawn kind of around it in like a black Sharpie just to make it a bit bolder, so I can print it a bit better, so I can copy it a bit better. I've also got this one, which is actually from that big sketchbook I've got. I cut out one of the shapes in there if I just want like a straight up and down body. Sketching is really something I need to work on learning to do better. I'm not very good at it. I don't particularly enjoy doing it, but it is a necessary part of the design process. If I'm designing something that's going to be self-published, I don't tend to do sketches. Sometimes I'll just draw like a quick schematic of the shape, especially when I'm working on new designs. If I'm charting out a new stitch pattern or something in my notebook and I want to make sure I don't forget it, what I've got in mind for it, I'll sometimes just like sketch out the rough shape of the garment or the shawl or whatever. But on the whole, I do find sketching is the worst part of designing for me. Most designers would start with sketching. I don't, because I do find it quite difficult. But magazines do need to see a sketch. I'm sure my lack of sketching ability has lost me some design submissions, but I've been published in plenty of magazines, and I think once I've been published in a magazine and they know that I can deliver, they're more willing to accept my bad sketching. I'm more nervous the first time I design for a magazine because I'm worried that they're going to look at my sketches and think no. So yeah, I need to, one of the things I need to really try and work on this year is to improve my sketching and learn how to do it properly. So first thing I'm going to do is to draw around this one. I will flip the camera down and then I'll probably do like a kind of fast forward thing through it so that you can see roughly what I'm doing. Can't show you all the details because this is for a magazine, so it's all kind of a bit top secret really, but I can show you a little bit. So once I've drawn the sketches and the schematics, I then take photos of it and upload to Dropbox, and then I edit those photos on my computer, and then I add them all to the Word document. So I write up the description. I charted out the stitch pattern last night. I don't always do that. I usually draw up the stitch patterns in a notebook like this, and I'm not always that good at labeling them properly, and I have several notebooks on the go, and sometimes I don't chart them up, like draw them up on the computer properly, and then sometimes things don't get commissioned, they get turned down, and I may submit it to another magazine in the future, and some publishers take a long time to get back to you. So I've had magazines that's kind of got back to me like after a year. I think one was even 2 years. By which time I'd submitted the shawl design they wanted to another magazine, actually to a yarn company, and they'd been published. So I know now which publisher that is, and that they tend to do that. So I now actually hang on to, I don't submit the designs I submit to them. I don't submit that anywhere else if I don't hear back from them, because I know that they hang on to it and might use it at some point in the future. But most magazines let you know fairly quickly, and then if any designs get turned down and I still like them and I still think they're good, then I might submit them to another magazine in the future if I got if they send out a call for design that suits my idea. So put everything together in a Word document with a description of the construction method and any kind of details. Then I work out how much yarn I will need. So that's what I was looking for my scales for. I got these little tiny scales which I got years ago. I got one on my desk, and then I got one in the lounge for weighing balls of yarn to work out how much yarn I got left and things like that. But I couldn't find it. Turned out it was hiding in the corner over there. So I weigh and measure the swatch, put in the measurements of the sample garment, and then work out how much yarn I will need. Basically, I've got a spreadsheet set up, and it actually takes a swatch and works out how many times you can fit the swatch into the size of the garment. I found a calculation in a book years ago. I put that into the spreadsheet, and that's it. I don't quite understand exactly how the maths works, but spreadsheet works. So everything's ready to go. I then turned the Word document into a PDF. So I've now just got to quickly email it off to the editor, and then I'm going to take Alfie for a walk. Normally I'm out before 10 o'clock, and it's 10 o'clock now. Normally I go out about 10 to 10, so I'm a bit late this morning. But I wanted to get this finished. So quickly going to email this off, and then I'm going to take Alfie out for a walk. I'm walking out in the woods today. I'm wearing mitts. It's very windy and very cold, but they're not hand knits. Cow was £3. Cow was £3 and accessorise. And this one I got the pen back the end of last winter. I can't remember how much that was, but it's really cold, really windy, so I hope you can actually hear me. So I hope you enjoyed this new podcast format. Let me know what you think in the comments. Did you enjoy it? Did you not enjoy it? I probably won't be doing a podcast next week because I got a deadline on Wednesday next week. 2 deadlines on Wednesday. I got appointments Monday and Tuesday afternoon, so I've only got 2 half days in the office. Half day on Wednesday, and then I got to pack for London. Then I'm going to London on Thursday, and then I'm teaching in London on Saturday, and we're coming back on Sunday. So I don't think there'll be a podcast next week, but I will try and record a bit while I'm in London, especially from the beautiful yarn shop I'll be teaching in, which I'm really excited about. So I'm teaching at Beautiful Knitters in Pimlico in central London. It's the professional finishing techniques. So we'll look at, you'll get loads of practice on sewing up using mattress stitch. We'll do sewing up rows to rows, stitches to stitches, and stitches to rows. So you have all the skills you need to sew up your garment, set in sleeve caps, all that kind of stuff. And we'll do 2 types of short row shoulder shaping, which is much better than that kind of traditional stair step shoulder shaping, and also how to convert from stair step shoulder shaping to short row shoulder shaping. We'll do picking up stitches correctly, which I see a lot of people get that wrong, for button bands and neck bands, and I'll share all my top tips about how to pick up the correct number of stitches and that kind of thing, and how to work a 1-row buttonhole, which is brilliant. Everyone loves that. And a few other bits and pieces as well, how to change your shaping slightly to make the finishing and sewing up easier, and blocking and pressing and things like that. So quite a packed workshop. In addition to that, after the class, people who attend the workshop will get my online professional finishing school for free. So I have an online professional finishing course, and anyone who takes my in-person class in the shop get the online course for free. So you can go back and watch all the videos if you forget what you're doing. Later on, you can just go and watch it online because you keep indefinite access to that. So that's Saturday 15th, I think, in London at Beautiful Knitters in Pimlico in central London. I'll put a link below. I think there's still 1 or 2 spaces left on that workshop, so be quick if you don't want to miss that. This is the first workshop I've done in London for years, so if you want to take a workshop with me and you can get to London, that'd be great. A month later, on the 15th of March, I'm teaching the same workshop at the Knitting Corner in Sutton Coldfield, north of Birmingham. So if you're not in the London area, but you're maybe in the Midlands or just north of the Midlands, then you might want to come to the workshop at the Knitting Corner instead. That's on the 15th of March. It's the same workshop, professional finishing techniques, and you get the online course for free afterwards as well. And then the week after London, I should have written this down and I didn't. I'll put all the dates below, but the week after I get back from London, so the week after next, I'm teaching how to design a top-down circular yoke sweater at Wool on the X in Exeter in Devon. And that class is for people who are familiar with circular yoke construction. So maybe you've knitted 1 or 2 circular yoke sweaters, either top down or bottom up. Doesn't matter if they got like a stranded colorwork pattern on the yoke, or a plain yoke, or stripes, or lace, or whatever. It doesn't really matter, but it's just so you have a little bit of a knowledge. We will mainly be focusing, or if you've done my how to knit a top down circular yoke sweater, then this class will be perfect for you. So we'll go more into the design aspect of a sweater, how to measure yourself correctly, how to knit a sweater to fit you, or to fit a set of measurements, how to work out all the numbers you'll need, how to think about different design elements like necklines, sleeve lengths, stitch patterns, how to incorporate different stitch patterns, whether they're lace, cables, stranded colorwork, knit and purl, whatever, all that kind of stuff. So it's quite an in-depth, very practical workshop. You'll get a lot of practice. You'll need your calculator. The maths is not difficult, and I do actually give you a spreadsheet after the workshop, but during the day we'll go through like a worksheet just so you understand what you're doing, because a spreadsheet can give you all the numbers, but you need to know what to do with them. So we'll go through all of that in the class, and it's a very practical class. And if you bring a swatch of a yarn and stitch pattern you'd like to use in your sweater, you can actually walk away with a plan for knitting the sweater. So that's week after next at Wool on the X. I'll put all the dates and proper links below. That same week I'm teaching standard colourwork and steeking in Plymouth. It's for the wool palette, and it's in Plymstock in Plymouth in Devon. And we will look at how to knit with 2 colours, how to knit stranded colourwork, or fair isle knitting, as probably it's more better known. How to knit with 1 colour in each hand, how to make sure your floats aren't too tight, so your fabric looks nice and even and isn't puckered. And then we'll look at how to reinforce your fabric so you for the steek, so we can cut the steek basically. Cutting the steek is what you do. I was just going to see if I had my... No, I haven't. I was going to see if I got a little sweater that my knitted for my girls when they were little, and I thought I had it here, but I don't. But basically, steeking means that you can knit something in the round, and then you can cut a hole for the sleeves, or you can cut down the front of a sweater to turn it into a cardigan. And it's very popular for stranded colourwork sweaters, very popular in Norway and in the Shetlands. You can use it for other things as well. So I've used the same techniques for making sweaters smaller. Turning a sweater my mum knitted for my husband a size smaller, and also to make some alterations to a cardigan that my friend knitted for herself. The fronts were too big, so I chopped a bit off basically, using the same techniques that I teach in this workshop. So I'll put the links to that below. I'm also going to be at the Knitting Hotel in Dawlish, in Devon. That's fully booked, I think, because that's a weekend retreat. I'm just teaching on the Sunday, but it's a weekend retreat. But if you're interested, Knitting Hotel at Dawlish is amazing. She's probably fully booked for this year, but it's worth getting on her mailing list and contacting Belinda to see if she's got any places left. If she gets any cancellation, I think she announces it on social media, and I think the places go pretty quickly. It's very, very popular. But I'll be teaching there next year as well in 2021. So if you're interested in a long weekend in Devon Seaside Village of Dawlish, make sure you get on Belinda's mailing list, and I'll put the links to that below as well. So that's the workshops that are coming up in the next couple of weeks. I hope you enjoyed this slightly different podcast episode. I will try and do some filming while I'm in London, especially at the workshop at Beautiful Knitters. I'm excited about visiting a new yarn shop as well, and I'm excited to teach in London. All the links to everything I've talked about today you can find below. And thank you very much for watching, and do leave me a comment and let me know what you think of this podcast, what you'd like me to talk about. If there's any tutorials you'd like me to do on this channel, just let me know below. Thank you very much for watching.